So back in 2020, near the beginning of 2020, we were introduced to Engage and real quickly recognized that as we went into the pandemic and our efforts to take control of our cost structure, there were a few key areas on the production side of the business that we felt like having digital ticketing and digital transactions was going to be very key to us being able to take control of those expenses, specifically water hauling, trucked water, and trucked chemicals, where we have a number of very low producing vertical wells that hold our position. They're traditionally truck treated, and that's a very time intensive process to execute. And the normal manual ticketing process further makes it difficult to understand real time what you're spending. So as we evolved through 2020, it became clear as we implemented them that we could start to see visibility the day of the transaction in what we were spending. So once we kind of got a hold of that, we asked ourselves, all right, now we're getting all this information. What do we do with it in order to ratchet down the over application of chemicals, for example? So we kind of dove in with Engage at that point. Probably the most obvious challenge we face with chemical applications is you design a product, you and your supplier, for a certain concentration of chemical in a well or the fluids involved. And there's a lot of thought that goes into that. So when you come up with that active concentration that you want, say 100 parts per million, well, it's all based on the fluids that's actually being produced at any given point in time. And historically, with monthly production averages, a supplier would be given data by an E&P to say, go out, here's the fluid that well produces. And he would easily calculate, here's how much chemical that well actually needs. The problem we found often was that those monthly averages didn't necessarily translate into the next month's actual fluid production for various reasons. Wells go offline, production, the mixture of production changes due to offset frac hits, inefficient pump operation. A number of things can happen. And the tech who arrives on location with an amount of chemical and the intent to put that in the well, he has no idea that the fluid production on that well has actually changed since the decision was made how much chemical that well needs for that next month. So a lot of moving parts there, but fundamentally lack of real-time data visibility to make the right calculation has historically led to lots of over or under treating in a truck treating program. And even in some continuous treating programs where you don't have remote visibility to those chemical pumps. So that's been the biggest problem in my experience with trying to say, hey, here's how much chemical we need to put in this well. It's great design, it's going to work. It's the application of that or the execution of that plan that has really just left a lot of meat on the bone, if you will. So in partnering up with Engage, we sat down with our supplier also and had a very candid conversation about what we were trying to do. There was no witch hunt. They were not held at fault for putting the amount of chemical that they did into the well, because quite frankly, we gave them out of date information historically, or something changed between the time when they got that information and when they put chemical in the well. So very candid conversation was had between the three parties. How do we get you, supplier, the most up-to-date, real-time, daily fluid volumes for you and we to decide how many gallons of chemical to put in the well? So as a team, talking through how they manage their routine week to week in executing the chemical program, we came up with Engage's help with a really slick way to provide our daily production data automatically to Engage. We standardized the calculations. We standardized how the supplier would see those calculations, and then take that each week and use that to drive to locations and put chemical in the well. And then on the back end, taking their digital ticket, which is produced the same day that the chemical goes in the well, we immediately today can see how effective our chemical treatment was yesterday. That's powerful. It's been really eye-opening. I think surprising to me how quickly we could see a step change in our ability to accurately treat these very low volume, remote, single well locations. I would certainly recommend any operator who is trying to take control of their spending, have better visibility into in their spend with respect to production chemicals, or any other line item in your LOS statement that you find you don't fully understand why that spend fluctuates the way that it does. There's an opportunity there to drive transparency into those transactions and help you and your supplier better implement the products or services so that both of you can better forecast the supply need and the supply expense. So it's been really cool to wrap up our pilot program and see the effect we were able to have on the weekly or monthly chemical applications, and see the immediate drop in over treatments and expense. The one challenge that I think we still have is making that very easy and seamless to do. So the next steps we're going to take with the help of Engage and a third-party analytics company is to take our daily production, take the supplier tickets through Engage, and our daily operation reports, and pump all of this information into a place where we can set up visualizations for sure, but automatic notifications and alerts that will help us more easily focus on our parts of the puzzle and execute a much more effective chemical program with less effort. So that's the goal. We're not there yet, but I'm excited to see where this becomes a very easy operation to run, the chemical application program, as I like to call it. That's very easy to run, and we get better results.